Branch FM, Radio for Life.
This is 101.8 Branch FM Radio for Life. You can also listen on our website, branchfm.com. And today I'm speaking to Alithea Williams from SPUC, that's Society for the Protection of Unborn Children. The website is spuc.org.uk. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello, it's nice to be with you.
Thank you. So, before we're going to be talking about some news in the UK and then possibly a little bit wider as well, and to encourage people to sign up to your news updates. But just to briefly explain who you are, who SPUC is.
Yeah, so the Society for the Protection of Unborn Children was formed back in 1967 to combat the abortion bill that was going through at that point. Yeah, so we've been around ever since then, and basically our aim is to end abortion in this country and around the world, hopefully. And but obviously we also look at other pro-life issues, so we combat euthanasia and unethical experiments on embryos, all those kind of life issues. So we're primarily a campaigning organisation. We lobby Parliament, but we're also in schools, and we just have lots of campaigns depending on the issue of the day.
Because you have had campaigns in regards to sex education in schools as well and things like that.
We have our Safe at School campaign. So that's to. I think that basically started because we had so many parents coming to us who are concerned at the kind of sex education that was going on in schools. Just kind of really encouraging promiscuous behaviour and promoting abortion and that kind of thing. So we have that campaign as well.
Brilliant. So the website is spuc.org.uk. Now, again, before we move on to some stories, tell us, Alithea, what does it mean to you to be pro-life?
Well, for me, being pro-life is to respect the right to life of all people, whether it's the youngest baby in the womb from the moment of conception, or an elderly person or a sick person. And it's respecting life, it's respecting babies, respecting mothers. And
one of the campaigns at the moment that you're trying to fight against is decriminalisation. Tell us about that. Yes,
abortion is actually only legal on certain grounds under the 1967 Abortion Act. But there's a big campaign at the moment, mostly from BPAS, the British Pregnancy Advisory Service, which is one of the biggest abortion providers in the country, to have abortion completely taken out of the criminal law, so that you would be able to have an abortion for any reason and probably up to any time limit. So this is just, really a move to normalise abortion. I mean, they say that women still have to go through all sorts of difficulties to get an abortion, which we know isn't true. But it would just take away any last remaining protection for the unborn child in the law.
As you know, and as we've seen in the news, there's been a lot of attacks on pro-life people, those who are supporting and praying outside abortion clinics. So these so-called buffer zones or censorship zones. Tell us a little bit about that. I know that it's Ealing Council, isn't it, where they've introduced this, where I believe they have to be 100 metres away from the clinic.
Yeah, so Ealing Council brought in a public space protection order a few weeks ago. Yes, which means that pro-life people cannot pray or witness within something like 150 metres of the clinic. They very kindly allow them a little space where 4 people are allowed to be. But obviously that means that they are not actually able to talk to these women who are vulnerable, who are in need. And we're seeing councils across the country looking into replicating this. But actually what the other side wants is not so much for councils to have to do this, but for national legislation.
Yeah.
So yes, the Home Office, under the last Home Secretary, Amber Rudd, started a review into protests around abortion clinics. So we're not quite sure what's happening with that now. Yeah. So obviously we have a new Home Secretary, and BPAS and the other MPs who support this have been writing to him, asking him to carry on with this and to bring in some kind of national legislation.
So we need people to write to Sajid Javid, really, and tell him not to introduce this, and why it's important to have these people outside abortion clinics.
Yeah, that would be really good. And also just people write to their own MPs, because often MPs such as the Home Secretary won't respond if they're not if you're not his constituent. But if you write to your own MP asking him or her to write to Sajid Javid, then that could be really helpful.
Branch FM, Radio for Life.
This is 101.8 Branch FM Radio for Life. You can also listen on our website, branchfm.com. And today I'm speaking to Alithea Williams from SPUC, that's Society for the Protection of Unborn Children. The website is spuc.org.uk. Because I mean, outside Ealing Council and other places, many women have been helped through these pro-life people outside the clinics. I've spoken. I mean, if people go to behereforme.org, I mean, I've spoken. There's many stories on there of how mothers have been helped, including Alina, who I've spoken to. We were going to go on to talk about the March for Life, and there were women there, weren't there, with their babies who've been helped outside the clinic. Just to tell us about that, and then tell us a little bit about the March for Life that was recently on May the 5th, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and I think what you mentioned of having these women who have been helped by organisations such as the Good Counsel Network was one of the most powerful parts of it. When we'd had this attack on this buffer zones attack, to really see these women who often are not English. They've had all sorts of difficulties. So Alina gave her story, and there was also a lady called Aurelia who I think was over from Tanzania and had a very difficult pregnancy and was given help and support. And even when she found out her baby was quite disabled, she was also given support there. But she was talking about how her daughter is just the best thing that's ever happened to her. It was just really beautiful to see. But the march generally, so this was the first time that it's been held in London. The last 5 years it's been in Birmingham, and we had lovely weather this year, which is great because it tipped it down last year in Birmingham. And it was really wonderful, actually. So it began inside, and there were stalls from all the various pro-life organisations, and there were speeches, and there was live music, and it was just like a really joyful, family-friendly atmosphere. And then we marched from the venue, which in Covent Garden, to Parliament. And it was a really, really good route past Leicester Square, down Whitehall to Parliament. And of course, there were some protesters out, but they didn't manage to drown out our voice. And yes, we mentioned that there were speeches from these women who have been helped. There was also a really good talk from Claire McCulloch, who's the head of the Good Counsel Network, which runs these vigils in Ealing and other London clinics. And there was also some really powerful testimony from Rachel Mackenzie, who had 2 abortions when she was younger and now runs Rachel's Vineyard, a branch of Rachel's Vineyard, which provides counselling to women and men and families who have been affected by abortion. Yeah,
really good and encouraging. You've had more people there than ever before as well, so that's a really good sign. Despite sort of like the political atmosphere or whatever. Would you say it's right that people are really kind of understanding that this is a really important, issue to help these mothers and to be for life? And
it's kind of
maybe they've gone too far in a way, and people have seen that, the abortion industry with wanting, up to birth and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, we're getting some really good kind of attention around these things. So while obviously the Ealing decision was dreadful and we really hope it's reversed, it was really positive to see that, there was lots of media attention to it, and there was, our side were able to get across quite a lot of our point, Claire McCulloch did a wonderful job, she was on pretty much every TV screen, but for a few days, and she just defended the position just so well. And I think people are having to kind of accept some things that they didn't know before. I mean, in the past, all the rhetoric, the talk has been about, these awful people harassing women. But now they were saying things like, you may think you're helping women, or I'm sure you have helped some, but so there was just having to be that admission that women are being helped. So that was really, really positive. And I don't think there is any appetite for decriminalisation in the public. We don't claim that everyone is pro-life, but I think most people are still uncomfortable with abortion, and they're uncomfortable in having it on demand or having it used as contraception. So I do think the other side are kind of misjudging their audience here.
Now, if we can move on to something else really important, and it's coming up really soon, is May the 25th. The Irish government is planning a referendum on the 8th Amendment. Just explain to us what the Eighth Amendment is?
So the Eighth Amendment was put into the Irish Constitution in, I'm going to say 83. Probably someone will correct me, but a good few years ago. Yeah. And it protects the equal rights to life of the baby and the mother. So it doesn't actually explicitly say anything about abortion, but recognising that right to life of the unborn child has effectively kept abortion out of Ireland. Which has just been, that's been really a kind of shining light and an example for the rest of us, yes. Particularly here when we have, 200,000 abortions a year almost. So yes, the Irish Prime Minister, the Taoiseach, on his first day in office, announced that there was going to be a referendum on repealing the Eighth Amendment. So the campaign's been going on about that, and just a few weeks to go until we know what happens.
Yeah, do you have a comment or a sense on what you think might happen?
Well, it's very difficult to say. The polls do show that repeal are ahead, but they're also showing that the polls are narrowing. From what we hear on the ground, that people are kind of cautiously optimistic that that it could be defeated. So
and of course, we know even looking at recent sort of elections, we know that polls aren't always correct.
No, exactly. And it does seem that kind of outside of Dublin, kind of in the more rural areas, people are a lot more likely to vote no, and it's whether that's really being reflected in the polls. And actually, it seems there was a very good debate on RTE, the Irish kind of main broadcaster, last night. And if you just kind of take a look at Twitter about that, it's clear that the no side won resoundingly and put forward a really, really good show. So hopefully that will kind of see this kind of turn that we need to happen in the next few weeks.
Right, let's move on to Scotland. So SPUC Scotland. So tell us about this situation. There's a court case currently, a court hearing currently taking place. SPUC Scotland filed the legal challenge in January.
Yes.
Tell us the situation around this.
Yes, so what happened is just before Christmas, the Scottish Government announced that they were going to allow women to take the second stage of the medical abortion. So there are 2 pills in the medical abortion, to take it at home, so licensing this kind of rather dangerous drug for home use. So SPUC Scotland wrote to the chief medical officer in Scotland, kind of saying that if they didn't withdraw this, then we would file legal action, which has now happened. So the basis for our legal action is that under the Abortion Act, the home is not classified as a place where abortions can take place. And the Act also specifies that a medical practitioner needs to be present. So obviously, it's very clear that this is not legal. So that's the reason to challenge it. But it's also, apart from the kind of legals, the reason we're challenging it is because this is very dangerous for women. The medical abortion has about twice as many complications as the surgical one. And just kind of the idea of women being left at home to kind of bleed out a pregnancy by themselves, and there's going to be no guarantee that the home will be in any way a suitable place for this to happen. What if they don't have a working telephone? What if they don't even have, a sink or hot water? You just have no idea. And if there's no one there to make sure that they're okay, any number of complications could occur.
And isn't that kind of what BPAS and the abortion industry are pushing in England as well, for abortion pills to be taken at home? They
are, yes. So this is another of their big campaigns, and they've been kind of it's been brought up in Parliament. So actually, interestingly, when it was brought up in the House of Lords a few months ago, the government minister said that the government doesn't currently have the right to say that the home is a place where abortions can take place. But they did say that they'd be looking very carefully at the results in Scotland. So, this case isn't just about Scotland. This could affect the whole of the UK. We're also seeing in Wales, the health minister there looking to see how they can amend the legal framework to allow abortions to take place at home. So I do think it's, the result of this Scottish case will be very significant for the whole of the UK.
They can keep up to date with all this news if they go to spuc.org.uk, and there's a section there where people can sign up to the email, which is, the news email is every weekday, is that right?
Yeah, so there are 3 options. You could sign up either just for the fortnightly newsletter, or we have daily news alerts, just during the week, when I'm in. And then there are also blogs, which are a bit less frequent. I just put up a blog yesterday, which people might be interested in, about the about the Irish referendum. So obviously, a lot of us are very concerned as to what could happen in Ireland, but obviously we cannot vote there unless you're an Irish citizen. If you're an Irish citizen, go home and vote. But I put up a blog talking to London Irish United for Life, who have given some ideas as to what people here can do. So it's things like, talking to your friends and family home in Ireland if you have them, kind of helping with media things. So do check out that one.
Brilliant. So spuc.org.uk, encourage you to sign up to them. Alithea Williams, thank you very much for speaking to us today from SPUC, Society for the Protection of Unborn Children. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Branch FM, Radio for Life. Go for life. Go for life.